Welcome to Hopkinton Coffee Break, your home for current community talk, with Patricia Duart, Darlene Hayes, and Connie Wright.
Hi, and welcome to Hopkinton Coffee Break. This is our first show in 2020, and it's so good to be back. Yeah. And what a great honor we have to have Amy Ritterbusch joining us on the couch today and joining us for coffee. You're just such a good friend and someone who's been so involved in the community. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
She's on school vacation week.
Yeah, I work for a school, so I had the whole week off.
Oh,
It was
awesome.
very convenient for me.
Awesome.
So how long have you been in town? How many kids do you have? What's your day job? All that good stuff, before we dive into the fun stuff.
A lot of people know Amy, but if you don't, I mean,
Yeah.
this is her introduction, I think, in terms of.
We moved to town in 2004 when my oldest was in preschool. Let's see. And then I have 3 children. I have my oldest is a sophomore in college. I have a senior in high school and a freshman in high school, a daughter.
Congrats.
Awesome. 2004. Well, that's
And 2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl. And my day job is a software and web analyst for the Wellesley Public School District. So I help them out with their website, Power School, all kinds of web-based software that they have, and help them with customizations.
So what prompted you to get involved as much as you have in Hopkinton, and what was some of your first early activities?
Oh boy, I think the Moms Club would have been the first opportunity, because we moved to town and didn't know anyone, although it was a convenient location for us because my husband works in Marlborough and my mother-in-law lives in Millis, so we're right in between. But we didn't know anyone in Hopkinton, so getting the Moms Club was great because they had all kinds of daytime activities that I could bring the kids. And then I love to do graphic design and computer stuff, so I helped them with their newsletter. I just jumped right in. The mom who was going to do the newsletter had to step down, and so I just stepped right up. And then I started to get to know people, and then later PTA, and then EHOP after that.
Wow.
And you founded EHOP.
Yeah. One of the founding members, yeah. Okay. I would say Jean Birchman and Nancy Burdick were also really big in the founding of it.
And it didn't start off being called EHOP.
Yeah, we started. It was called Educate Hopkinton in the beginning, and it really was a little more school-focused, but we wanted to be focused on the whole town, because we are a whole town with it's one town, one problem, one solution. We can't ignore everything.
Like when Nanda introduces the EHOP at an event we go to, she has like 3 E words or something that go along with it.
Oh yeah, so we changed it to EHOP, which is for Educate, Engage, Empower Hopkinton. Because we thought with Educate Hopkinton, it really did sound very school focused, and we wanted to make it clear we're educating people on a variety of issues, not just school issues.
So I was just going to say, I shouldn't value judge these two, but I need my children to help me with technology. You're on the cutting edge of technology. So I should start calling you when I have technology.
In the 2 seconds a week you probably have
technology issues.
Yeah. But EHOP really, formed a pretty big footprint in town. It became really popular. It's really a go-to resource for information about all things Hopkinton.
Yeah, we started in 2007, and it's only really become more well-known, I think, in the last 5 or 6 years, maybe.
And talk about the platforms it's on, because you have a Facebook page?
Yep. Well, we started with the website and then an email list. Like, we just wanted to tell people people, especially who never lived in a town with town meeting, didn't know when town meeting was or what it was. So we had an email list to send out information. And then, Facebook wasn't really a thing in 2007. No. So then we got Facebook in 2009. We've got Twitter and Instagram. We have a LinkedIn because we were trying to reach a different demographic, but hardly anyone follows us on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's.
I think one of the things that, to me, ended up putting EHOP on the map was the getting ready for town meeting.
The Know Your Vote show.
Yeah, and kind of what it's about, and explaining articles and asking questions. Even though, I follow it kind of
middle of the road.
I follow it because I like town meeting and stuff. But I go and I still learn things about the articles and hear the viewpoints, and it's very, as Connie put, nonpartisan and very here are the facts. Here's what happens if you vote yes. Here's what happens if you vote no. And because sometimes the wording on these are hard.
It can be hard. I think to myself, I'm fairly bright, and sometimes I read
You went to
these.
Stanford.
It doesn't mean anything. They had a diversity requirement. They needed more redheads.
They need a redhead. I like some gingers up in there.
But I'll read it and I'll go, wait, does it mean this? that? You
Oh,
know,
there are these run-on sentences that go on for
God.
forever.
And it's legalese.
Legalese,
It's
yeah.
just,
I
it's like,
know.
oh my God. So,
so we
I
had a-
appreciate EHOP for that because it puts it in plain English, and it also succinctly says a yes vote means X,
And a
a
no
no vote means Y. And that is what people need to hear sometimes.
Well, we had a friend on the Real Housewife page just say this morning that she contacts Amy when she just wants to get some clarity on the article. And it's not for, you don't influence
really
voting,
kind.
but, just in terms of information, just clear, concise. But that takes some dedication.
Yeah.
It takes research. I mean, you guys are really on top of it and precise in terms of information.
We're really committed to it, and we will seek it out. Some
Yeah.
committees publicize their articles more so than others, and we'll try to bug that committee or bug the town clerk or the town hall. Do you have any more info on this article? We've never heard of it.
Yeah.
And it's all volunteers.
Right.
I mean, and it's non-government. It's not a committee in town. It's not an appointed, elected. It's a bunch of volunteers that saw a need.
Right.
And a few years ago, you got involved in the planning board, and from there, actually, the reason we even invited you here today was about this growth study committee that kind of is merged out of planning board, didn't it?
Right. It's a subcommittee of the planning board that was formed last summer.
So let's back up.
Yeah.
So talk about planning board and then talk about the subcommittee.
Okay. So my first committee I was on was a town committee, was the Historic District Commission.
Yep.
And then I got on Design Review Board, which is kind of it's appointed by the planning board. So I would get to see the planning board plans before they went to planning board, and I found it really interesting. And I decided to run for planning board when there were some openings. So that was in 2017, I think. Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah.
But why did the subcommittee form on planning board? Give a little bit of the background on what was the impetus for that.
So the way the planning board works is people bring us projects that they want to do, and we have to see if they comply with the bylaws, suggest some changes sometimes. Sometimes we can waive things or not. But if something is allowed by the town bylaws, we have to approve it if it complies with all the rules and regulations and the bylaws. And residents come to us very frustrated that why can't you just say no? But if it complies with the rules, we can't say no. We have to let it go. That's the fair thing to do. And the planning board has been so busy, the economy's been good, just constantly approving project after project after project. We didn't really have time to take a step back and say, well, all these things have been approved. How is this affecting the town? Are we planning adequately? What do we need to do in the future?
Right. So you've gone back to a 30,000 foot level and looked at it as a whole. And what's, is there a mission statement to the subcommittee, or what is the goal or purpose?
Let's see. That's what I want. Why I brought my sheets here.
The data queen.
Yeah, the aims were to proactively manage growth. Let's see. Here we go. Enable better planning for town services. Identify parcels and zones that may have a significant impact in the future, and just being proactive about maintaining the required level of affordable housing in town too.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So
being
pretty broad.
proactive, but being proactive,
Yeah.
not reactive. Taking a look and saying, do we have some funky, wonky things out there that we might need to adjust or change, as opposed to reacting when people get up in an uproar and then go like,
Nothing we can.
Yeah.
And say there's nothing we can do. But
So for those of us who, or many people who aren't aware of a lot of things, when you think, so this growth study committee, what are some of the things that you are, broadly concerned about, thinking about?
Well, we've spent most of the fall and winter really gathering data. We've met with the town CFO, we've met with the Chamber of Commerce, we've met with the DPW director, the school superintendent, just to kind of get all the data in. And we've done some slideshows and had some forums so we can kind of tell people kind of where we're at, what's been the trend, and if we can't exactly predict, but the school has done a study predicting, and I think the town might be looking to do some kind of study too.
So what do you see as trends? What are some of the key markers on trends?
Obviously, we're growing, but interestingly, we're not growing as much as we did in the 90s and the early 2000s. Okay. But we're still growing a lot. And the fact that our predictions in the past have been very wrong. Like the school predictions were always, they were saying,
But those also weren't predictions done by people in the town.
no, we hired experts.
A consultant, yeah.
Quote
And they
unquote
were
experts.
Yeah,
So
but
the growth wasn't as aggressive as one thought? Is that what were some
well,
of the
it's not quite as
disconnects were?
extreme, I think, as some people had thought. Yet it still has to be addressed. It's more than the schools could handle.
I see.
Yeah.
But it was planned growth. I mean, we knew that this was happening.
Yeah.
When you say, okay, you can build 900 homes,
Yeah.
that happens. And there was something that Chuck mentioned at a chamber networking
Chuck
event.
Joseph?
Yeah, that and he's on
He's on the growth study committee as well.
It was that the homes have 0.62 children, and it identically matches the growth going on in Ashland
6
too.
children?
No, 0.62.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say,
They have,
okay,
they have a
right.
little over half a kid.
Yeah, there you go.
Pieces of children.
Pieces of children everywhere. It's a mess.
So for every household in town, throughout the whole town, there's 0.6 children per household.
Okay.
And in Legacy Farms, there's 0.62 students per household. So it's really very, very comparable. But it had been predicted that because Legacy Farms had condos and townhouses and apartments, they would have a much smaller number of students per household than the rest of the town is mostly single-family homes. Not entirely. But that was a miscalculation that the apartments don't have too many children, but the townhouses and condos really do have the same number of children as any other town. So it seems like we could have predicted that better, but we did not.
Yeah.
But when
And actually, I'm surprised
that you
that
guys had
little.
done comparisons to towns surrounding us, and that we were pretty much on par with the towns around us.
We have more school children per capita. Let's see.
Yeah.
Than other towns. Let's see.
Ooh, a bar graph.
I
She's
do
the
have
data
charts,
queen.
yeah.
Bear in mind, Amy knows her facts.
Yeah, so with neighboring towns, we have 23% school children per capita, which is higher than any of the neighboring towns, but not a ton. Westboro's 21%, Holliston 20%.
Just a little.
Which also equates like we have really good schools.
Right, so that's
Right.
logical. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then peer town, even with peer towns, we're a little bit higher.
I mean, back when I was in high school and until I still think it was into the 90s, people were sending their kids from Ashland and Hopkinton to Holliston.
Oh, yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
the school choice of doing. And I mean, I had 2 kids I graduated high school in 81 in Ashland, that I know 2 kids from our graduating class that went to Holliston. Their parents sent them there. I mean, now, I don't think we're getting an influx of people saying, I'm sending my kids to Hopkinton as school choice.
Well, we don't accept students from school choice.
Oh, we don't,
but-
okay.
Right.
We're too.
Because we're too full.
Too full.
We could.
There's no room
Sorry.
at the table.
Yeah.
We're already figuring out where to put them all.
my
I'm
husband
all
had-
about bunk desks, just stack those desks up.
My husband had that same experience. He lived in Millis in the 90s, or no, 80s, I guess I should say. And when people were leaving Millis also to go to Holliston because they had a reputation for the great
We
schools.
moved here from Minnesota, and it was Holliston, Holliston, Holliston. In fact, we were put down on a house in Holliston, and septic tank failed at the house, whatever. So we got out of it, and then we ended up in Hopkinton, which ended up being the best,
Yeah.
the best choice. We got super lucky.
So obviously growth and head count and student count in schools, but there's other things that
Right.
growth, traffic and other infrastructure. The
Yeah.
sidewalks are a big discussion item. So
Right.
what about those things?
Yeah, so the town invested in sidewalks, I don't remember the exact year, maybe 5 years ago, a big package they did sidewalks on Ash Street and several other places. Then when that was done, they put another article to town meeting to do more sidewalks, and it failed. So now planning board is doing another survey, which they had done several years ago too, to see where do people want sidewalks and maybe how much they want to spend per year. Because I think that's the main reason I think that it failed. It's not that people didn't want the sidewalks, it's just that we were spending money on other things,
Yeah,
and the
priority.
sidewalks could wait.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did that survey. That was interesting.
Yeah.
In fact, some of us commented on the Facebook page that we felt guilty because it was all about, there were some questions about focusing the sidewalks around schools and so people
Yeah.
could walk. And we think, yeah, that's great. But what about people that don't have kids and still want to walk?
Just want to stroll.
And just
Yeah.
want to stroll. And one of my comments was around, sidewalks build communities, help people engage with their neighbors. And
Yep.
it would be great to be able to walk to get somewhere
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
walking just for the exercise.
Well,
so.
so sidewalks, but we also, and it's not just Hopkinton, but it's also surrounding towns. Traffic.
Yeah.
And are you guys looking at that at all, and the impact?
Yeah, we did meet with the DPW director, and he did not have too many statistics on traffic, so I think we're going to try to talk to the town engineer to get more info on that. But like you said, that's a regional issue. It's not just people going through the town. And
but we need to have a suggestion and maybe pull together with other towns and come up with a combined solution, because if you're trying to
Main
get
Street
through town at rush hour, just
I was sitting
park your car and walk.
I was sitting bumper to bumper on Main Street this past winter. Well, we're still in winter, and I just took a picture, and it was all the bright lights and everything. And I said, "Guess where I am?" And because I go to Boston all the time, and people in Boston, whatever. Main Street, Hopkinton.
Yeah,
Both directions.
Both directions was like packed. It was funny.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes if I'm coming down 85, it's backed up right after you pass the state park, the second part of the res.
Yeah.
Right,
And
to get up through that light.
to get up through there. But
And
I think
Main
also
Street,
the growth study has also shown that they're not trying to stifle growth. It's how
No.
to
Right.
how to manage it, where it's going, but also
planning for it.
planning for it. And I know that it's been brought up before, but now you guys are very much advocating for like having an economic development officer in town, and the needs to actually fill a lot of the empty business space we have in town. Even the sign on this building as you come in, there's a 4 lease.
Yeah, so that's one thing that has bubbled to the top. We haven't agreed on any, nothing for this town meeting anyway, about any zoning changes or tweaks for this year, but we did put a placeholder article on town meeting warrant for the creation of an economic development officer position in town hall. And we as a committee don't manage the budget or have a budget for this. So it would be a non-binding article that the public could learn about this idea and vote to support it or not. And if the public supports it, I would hope that the town leaders would maybe consider putting it in the budget for next year. If not.
Well, it's all, you want to be proactive as opposed to reactive. And you want to be thoughtful, knowing that if you do X, this impacts Y and Z. And so I think it's all good. I mean, that's very...
And I was going to show you this. It's a little bit of a rough map, but this is something that Finn Perry's been working on. It's
You can put this. We'll post this if you do.
Yeah.
So folks at home can see.
Do you have it electronically?
I'm not sure if I do. We're
We'll
working
scan
with
it.
Town
Scan it or
Hall.
something.
The Town Hall, they have a geographic information system IT person, and they've been working to get it in more electronic format. But so the green space is protected open space in Hopkinton that has some kind of restriction on it. But the yellow space, which is maybe larger than you might think, is currently open, but is not protected. Like if it were sold, it could become homes or business or whatever.
So interesting.
So these are parcels, larger. Yeah, go ahead. These are larger
gonna be like-
parcels.
Just to show.
Not that you can, but this is what we're looking at. We'll post something for real. But the yellow, I just wanted to...
I guess collectively it's a lot of.
So I thought this was
miles.
required EMC, that they couldn't develop it, but I guess it could be,
Yeah,
and some of the other ones were similar.
we'd have to check the zoning on it. I think that is in the commercial industrial zone, so I don't think it would be homes. But if it comes open, like we need to have somebody ready to fill
I
it.
thought they were required to keep it
Okay.
natural when they bought it. So there is a couple of them, but these are
I'll have to
things
look
to
into that
discover
one.
and
Yeah.
to figure out. And of course, wow, this tucked into this. Is that the?
I think it's the golf course. Is that Saddle Hill? Oh no. So the con.
Oh no,
my
that's where the
property.
old quarry.
Oh, okay.
I bet that's the old quarry.
I mean, there's a
Wow.
lot of yellow
That's the golf
space,
course. Yeah.
but there is a great deal of green space still.
Yes,
Right.
we've
And I
done a
think
good
I
job
think
with that. Yeah.
that we're not trying to take, anyone wants to take away from natural resources. And I mean, and this is my personal opinion, but before they would put a shovel in the ground to any of those yellow spaces, I would love to see these spaces that are already open and underutilized filled.
Yeah.
I mean, South Street and Parkland and Main Street.
That would be
And
interesting.
hoping
to see.
that an economic development officer can say, hey, look, if you want to open a business, there's places here on 77 Main Street, or there's a place,
Well, I'm sure if there's an occupant, well, I don't know that, whether there's an available commercial, like
You mean like a
office
tab
space.
on the town's website? No.
No. But I was
Well,
just
on Realtors'
like
websites,
like an
everything.
overlay map that would be, here's all the industrial office space, and it's at X% occupancy.
Yeah, we're trying to get info on that. I believe we
sure
asked
it's
the assessor, and he didn't necessarily track that because the people are still paying their property tax,
Yeah.
obviously. But we get more taxes on business personal property if it's occupied and has equipment in there. We
Sure.
get more tax revenue.
So I read an article. I don't know if I shared it with you already, but it was that some towns in Florida and California that have that businesses that have allowed just to go kind of empty. They pay their base property tax, but they're not full. They've actually fined them $400 a month to say, listen, we want your business filled because it doesn't mean your property taxes change, but those people that end up buying gas and eating in our restaurants and going to our stores, and they went from something like this one town went from 30-something open business spaces to 6 in a year.
Wow.
Because that was enough to say, okay, let me aggressively look to try to fill these spaces.
That's great.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then another idea, we just have to kind of be ready if these properties are going to turn over, what would be the best use? There could be a use that would be mutually beneficial for the town and the property owner too. Or if it's a really great piece of land that should be conserved, we could maybe consider buying it. But
looking some of these tucked in there, it's yeah.
But with town budgets being tight, people may not be in the mood to purchase land for open space either, because it's not cheap.
Wow. Interesting.
But things to
It's
keep in
not
mind.
complicated.
It is. It's
and,
complicated.
yeah.
So you're still on Historic District,
I
right?
am, yeah,
You're,
I'm the
you're
chair.
actually chair of it. You live in the Historic District Commission.
Well, I don't really live in the historic district, so I'm just in an
You're
historic
in
home.
Okay. So is there any space that's developable around downtown?
Well, let's see.
I can't tell where downtown is on that map. It's
And do the rules around
Yeah.
downtown change versus other areas in town that might be yellow?
this?
Yeah, these are all homes and businesses
Yeah.
already, so they don't.
Yeah,
it's
not
not totally
really.
open. There's some
Yeah.
here that's behind. Like it must be behind Ash Street.
Yeah.
I know there is a proposed some more development off of Blueberry Lane. I don't know if that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be more I mean, I would think that'd be more residential. That you wouldn't want to.
Yeah, these are already occupied by either homes or
Right,
businesses for
right.
the most part.
So
What are some of the priorities for the historic district these days?
We have an article at town meeting too.
Oh, tell us.
Yeah. So last year, remember, we added the 76 Main Street to an historic district, and people at the time said we don't really like the idea of a single property historic district.
Okay.
And most of the neighbors of 76 Main Street said they'd be happy to also be included, but we just weren't ready to do that last year. So we applied for a CPC grant to study the properties right around 76 Main and also Summer Street. And then, so we'll have if assuming that passes, we would have a consultant do that work in the fall, and then next year's town meeting, we could add more properties to that district.
Yeah.
If the town people want to, because it does require a 2/3 vote. in
And
the loan
are there
process.
advantages to being in a historic district? I mean, why would somebody care or not, to be part of it?
Yeah, so sometimes people care because it prevents their neighbors from doing things they don't like. That's something people
okay.
say. Also, statistically, property values are higher in an historic district and increase faster over time because you're kind of guaranteed that you're going to kind of maintain that look and small
Gotcha.
town
preservation
feel.
of.
But there are disadvantages too. People sometimes don't like that. They do have to come before us if they want to make an exterior change. But
And
we
you
don't.
guys had to play a role in the downtown corridor as well.
Yeah, we did have a public hearing on several items that were. So not all the downtown is in the historic district, but there were several items that we had to have a hearing on and review.
And one of them is actually going to be where the future home of the Bobby Gibbs statue is going.
Yeah, I don't know if that's affected by the downtown corridor, but we did approve the placement of the Bobby Gibbs statue at the corner of Hayden Row and Main Street, and I think that's going to have an unveiling soon around marathon time. I
Very
think.
cool.
Well, speaking of which, is the Marathon Museum, is that a go, or what's happening?
I think
do you
that
know?
has to be go to town meeting as well. So they put it out for bid. The 26.2 foundation bid on it and was approved. But I think the town still has to vote on it at town meeting, and that would be on East Main Street on one of the municipal parcels of Legacy Farms.
Well, and I know you've got the Boy Scouts property, the dog park, all
Yeah.
those things. Bay Path, their future home. A lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when do you sleep, Amy? Your job is full time
lot of
at
coffee,
Wellesley,
yeah.
right?
And then this
And
is
mother
practically
of parents to 3. You're a busy
Yeah.
woman.
She's also a Girl Scout leader, Boy Scout leader.
I'm no longer the Girl Scout leader. I'm the cookie mom only. So
There you go.
I'll step down a little bit.
which is also very popular.
Your troop actually has an event coming up.
Yeah, we have an annual event. We've done the Edible Book Festival that we did we did it first for our Bronze Award.
What is that edible book festival? What is
Fun,
that?
actually. to
Yeah, it's an April Fool's Day type activity where you make you make a cake or other kind of food item that resembles a book, or it could be a play on words too.
Do you do it at the library, or where do you do it? Or just
Yeah,
St. John's.
Well, we're doing it at the library now.
Okay.
We now that the library has the big event space
Yeah.
open. We've done it at St. John's in the past.
how fun.
I mean, what's they had like a cake one year. It looked like the from the book, like the Hungry Caterpillar. There was
yes.
one that was there was
picture
one
of
that
that.
looked
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
like a Harry Potter castle.
Yeah.
Your daughter bakes, so she
Yeah.
really gets into it.
There've been like Little House on the Prairie log cabins, House of Seven Gables.
So fun.
Well, that's a good segue. There's a lot going on coming up in town.
The Women's Club is doing a family bingo on the 7th at St. John's. And actually where I work now, since the last time we taped, I've changed. The local radio station in Milford will actually, their afternoon DJ will actually be the bingo caller. And there's Bay Path is having their gala. You have a gala
28th
with
of March.
the
my,
CWA.
Just my
Center for
Boston.
Women.
Yeah, the
And,
board I sit on.
Yeah, but you said, what's that?
There's a leap year mini golf at the library happening
yeah.
a week from today.
Yeah.
But leap year's actually a week from tomorrow. But they're doing it a day early. There's a lot of stuff going
Did
on.
we say
I think,
Shamrock Shindig? Did you talk
yeah, the
about that?
Shamrock
Yeah.
Shindig is what, the 12th? I'm not
I think
sure.
it's a Thursday.
That's a fun
coming
event.
up.
The
Yeah.
17th is the Wizards are coming to school, the Harlem Wizards, which
Oh,
they're
wow.
actually a lot of fun to watch.
They are
They're
fun.
It's a good
They
show.
are a lot of fun. They really get the families into it.
Yeah.
There's always
But
stuff at
it's
the
really the
Center
kind
for
of
the Arts. What's going on?
like really going into March is preempting gala season, and for Hopkinton, it's getting ready for
For the marathon.
And actually, why don't we give EHOP the final shout out? You guys actually have marathon runners.
Oh yeah, we have a marathon runner this year. We've had one for the last
Excellent.
3 years. He's doing
Wow.
great. He's a friend of a teacher at the Hopkinton High School, and he's a med student.
Nice.
And he's run a Boston Marathon once before, but I think he didn't have a qualifying time, so he can't run again without being a charity runner. But he's already, I think, 2/3 of the way to his goal of 5,500.
Oh, nice.
So his name is Matt Lerner.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of in-town runners, and most of them do it for charity. Not all of them, but a lot of charity runners,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
amazing.
That's
So-
great.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on. And,
Always.
and I know that we're looking forward to, getting back into taping in 2020. And one of the things that'll be new is that we're going to be actually doing more shows on location. So there'll be some surprise locations coming up. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
we
glad
just have
that
been
Amy
so
came
busy.
out. We're glad that
We're back.
the three of us are back
Back on
together.
the
doing
couch.
such-
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad you joined us.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.